How do you think that the Christian church should deal with what I guess are technically Christian heresies? I mean, Islam is technically a Christian heresy from a Christian point of view.
Absolutely.
So then at the same time, you have leaders of the church of course you've got to treat all humans like they're humans, but there's another step, which is to be celebrating parts of the Islamic calendar, and we have our king has said various things about Islam over the year. Now, as Christians, yes, we should welcome our fellow human beings. But what do you think is the correct position, or perhaps a different way of asking the question is: do you think the church have made missteps with regards to talking about other faiths?
Of course, as I said earlier on, we have to speak the truth. It's biblical. We speak the truth in love. Caritas in veritate. It's straight from St. Paul. Speak the truth in love. Benedict XVI again said one of the important things about dialogue is speaking the truth. For example, we can still speak the truth to one another and say, I disagree completely with your point, or in my view, you're completely wrong. Doesn't mean we're going to kill each other or hate each other. Two anecdotes that illustrate this. When I was in Iraq one time, very early on, when ISIS was very dominant, I said to an archbishop in Iraq, can you have dialogue with moderate Islam? And he laughed and he said, well, when moderate Islam exists, we'll have dialogue with it. I also asked the same question to someone, I won't say who, but who was extremely high up in the church. When I say high, I mean very high. Not quite, okay. not in white, but close. But and we'd been talking. He'd been very serious the whole discussion. He'd never smiled, and I asked him the same question. I said, "Can we have dialogue with moderate Islam?" And he laughed for the first time, and he said exactly the same thing. He said, "When it exists, we can have dialogue." So you were completely right about it being a Christian heresy. That's again something Belloc wrote about. Belloc was always fascinated though, because he said it's the one heresy that's endured. He found it fascinating that why would this one? He called it the great. I think he called it the great, the most extreme denial of the incarnation possible, which is true. That's what Islam can't accept, that Christ, God the Son, Jesus was God. So it's the most extreme denial. But he was always fascinated, how could it survive? But, for example, dialogue with Islam, theologically, is pretty difficult, if not impossible. But we can work, as we were talking about Albania together, for example. The Vatican did a lot of work in the UN with Muslim countries fighting against some of the gender stuff. We can do a lot together in peace, happily, and we really should. But ISIS produced 2 magazines during their time in Iraq and Syria, one called Dabiq and one called Rumiyya, which is Rome. And in one of them, I can't remember which, they produced these glossy magazines, great PR and everything. One of the issues of one of them, I think it was a Rumiyya, its issue was, I'm sure it was a big seller, it was called Why We Hate You. That was and the first several chapters or parts of this article were not, as you might expect, we hate you in the West because you're so corrupt, and your women don't wear enough clothing and all this. All the first points in this article were theological. We hate you because you believe in 3 gods. We hate you because you believe Jesus is God. We hate you because... all theological. So dialogue theologically on the part of the church has got to be realistic. Work together with the things you can work together with, as I said. But yeah, I think, unfortunately, many of our leaders have not. It's all about fudging and keeping appearances of peace. But that's why you have to go to some of these countries where people have really experienced what persecution is. And you don't hear the same kind of discussion. Mm-hmm. You just, because they know. They know what it's like to be driven out of their homes. I was in Iraq one time talking to a priest who'd been driven out of Mosul. He said, my 800-year-old church is an ISIS torture center. They're killing people and torturing, shooting people in this center. And he said, my house is taken by my neighbors. Now, that's not all Muslims. Of course it's not. But it's also reality. Don't play too many games. Let's talk with transparency, with honesty, and with charity, in truth and love, but also not fudging.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Winston Marshall Show. You can click here to watch the full episode, and for more clips like this one, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, be well.